Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to create a portrait using some weird inks that I have. But first of all, please subscribe because I post art videos once a week on Fridays, so you don't want to miss that. Look at this, you don't want to miss this. There's some weird things floating around this one. I know you want to see me try using this. This is disgusting. So I hope you're feeling adventurous because I am, and today we are making some art. I started with a light pencil sketch. I erased it a little bit because I wanted to go over the lines with my new red Prismacolor pencil. I always love a red outline, especially for portraits. I've been following some artists on Instagram who have super detailed sketches in their watercolors or ink paintings, so I wanted to try that. I'll link some of them in the description so you can check them out. This is why I decided to keep the sketching part in. I sometimes cut it from my videos because it's always the same, and I figured you might want to jump into action right away. But since I was trying something different, I think it's good to keep it in. You can see that I'm doing darker lines and some shading, which is something I usually stay away from in my sketches. I usually want my paint to do all the work, which I think isn't always necessary. Of course, it depends on the style you're aiming for, but I've been loving the more detailed outlines, so I decided to give it a try. I feel like I could have called this painting done after the sketch, which I guess is a good sign. Now, these are the inks I plan on using. I ended up not using the gold one. In fact, I used two of the tall bottles, a yellow and a red, and another small yellow ink bottle. The two yellows were pretty much the same color though. Here you can see me trying to reactivate some old ink. These are leftovers from the page on the left. I let them dry for a couple of days, and I wondered if I could reactivate them to use them for this next painting. The answer is no and yes. I wasn't able to reactivate them this time. The yellow was mostly fine, but the red and the orange didn't reactivate well this time. There was some stuff in the bottom of the pan, some particles floating around, so it was very suspicious. I ended up washing my palette and putting some fresh ink in. If I can call my ink fresh, which I doubt. Oh, and I started painting without telling you. I don't know why, I kept forgetting about recording. That's why you may see some jumps from time to time. At this point, I had just done a light first skin-based color and a little bit of the shadows. I decided to work with light layers at first to get to know this ink better and work step by step. This portrait is very soft and beautiful, so I wanted to make sure that I represent these qualities in mine. So you see me adding some layers, working up to the desired values. I really liked using the red for the darkest part. Oh, and to finish off what I was saying about reactivating the inks, I tried again the next day, but I left the water in the pans for an hour and a half before mixing the inks again, and this time it worked. Now I think I dropped my brush on her hair, and I tried to reactivate the ink to spread it a little and make that spot less intense. It didn't really work, so I'm thinking this is some kind of acrylic ink? What do you think? These inks were given to me, and I think the person who had them for a long time, so I don't have much information about them. I don't know what kinds of inks these are, but we won't let that stop us, won't we? Oops, here I forgot to record again. See what I mean though with the red on the darkest areas? I love the contrast in the color. I think it was my first time working with a monochromatic palette. There's something really nice about focusing almost exclusively on values. This is not something I used to do, but I really want to incorporate it more in my practice, to be intentional about value. I think this is something real artists do, huh? and I use my Chinese calligraphy brushes again. I find it very hard to go back to my regular watercolor brushes. These ones soak up so much water and paint, they feel amazing to use. The only thing my other brushes still do better is details. My calligraphy brushes are too big and they're not the most precise. You'll see me using my tiniest watercolor brush at the end for the details. Now we switch to another fun part. I'm going to use my white acrylic ink to create the highlights. This is something that I see artists do all the time on Instagram, and I always love the result. I figured today was the perfect day to try this technique. If you see some jumps here, it's because I filmed a reel and I think maybe you should go see it on my Instagram. It might be a super cool reel. Just saying. Well, I hope you liked this shorter video. If you did, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. I'd also like to know if there's anything you would like me to film. My suggestion box is open. Until then, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye!